So you have talked extensively on this show and also in your recent media appearances about the eschatologists, the hardcore evangelical Christians and Catholics who want to bring about an end of the world scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And they are religiously motivated to participate in either the cover up or distortion of the truth related to this matter. Right. This question is about a satanic element in the within this group that is maintaining the secrecy. So is there, I already know the answer, but is there a satanic element in this cabal that controls this issue?
Sure. I mean, it's two sides of a coin. You have the people who are very religious, but who believe, like Prince Hans Adam of Liechtenstein did, that we had to create Armageddon so Christ would return, right? There's a whole section of those. And then the flip side of that same coin are the people who are like really love the idea of evil, death, destruction, torture, everything you want to call it evil, just satanic, whatever, who literally are involved with that and who love that. And, and I've met both from both ends of the spectrum. Now, this is not to say that everyone who's a very conservative religious person buys into that and wants that. I'm talking about an extremist group that is part of that organization. Because remember, this organization is like a whole constellation of people working because they have a common objective. That's one extreme. The other would be global macroeconomic energy control. The other one is the military, industrial, profiteering complex. They're all in some of them wear multiple hats, right? But ultimately, it's a very messed up situation. And I have met people from those, let's call it factions, and they're pretty spooky people. And unfortunately, a lot of people, you can be kind of hoodwinked on this because what I call the folks on the more evil end of weird stuff and stranger things, I call it electromagnetic black magic. They have technologies that can conjure up, and we're not talking some weird satanic ritual, except that it may bring into this dimension some really scary stuff, but it's being done through a high-tech system where they can tap into a lower dimension. And this is why I always point, when I go to a meeting, I go, you have three things going on here: the actual ET, the actual man-made, and then the extra dimensional or interdimensional that can be confused with both. And a subset of the interdimensional or extra dimensional are the ones that are induced through humans through these very, very high-tech systems. So there's more than one scientist I've met with where when they hit a certain frequency in the electromagnetic and resonance, it can pop out of another dimension an object or a being that comes into 3D and not a hologram, physically runs around the lab. Now, I've heard this, these are like the stories of Montauk back in the day that got spun into I never saw any of the episodes, something called Stranger Things. I guess it was on Netflix. And so this capability most certainly exists. And some of those folks, it's like you have innate remote viewing capabilities in the CIA with Russell Targ and McMonagh, all those folks, right? But then you have something above where they were operating that are the electronic assist systems for consciousness that are human, based on studying the ET systems back in the 40s and 50s. And we could do a whole show on just that. It's fascinating. But so they have a corollary here with inter and extra dimensional weird things, like at the Skinwalker Ranch or the Bradshaw Ranch or Stranger Things, sort of Montauk, but where there's an innate, say, a bizarre phenomenon that happened that's not extraterrestrial, it's extra dimensional, but that can also be induced through these very advanced physics and electromagnetic sciences, scientific systems that can, and some of that I think was accidentally discovered. I know a man down near the Marshall Space Flight Center in the Redstone Arsenal who accidentally did that. He just hit a certain frequency because he was working on this under contract from the CIA, from IT&T, and boom, pops what stuff would disappear, pop right into this dimension. Weird stuff. Okay, this is why at the agency they call it WSFM, Weird Science and Frickin' Magic. And when I talked to an engineer at Northrop Grumman once, he said, well, we just call it PFM, pure fucking magic. He said, literally, that's what we call it. So there's a whole spectrum. Everyone thinks of a man-made clunky UFO, but boy, there's a lot of things on that spectrum that's in their little dark little basket of secrets technologically that we could do multiple shows on, that I've been read into and have met people who have been operational or have been the principal investigators and scientists who dealt with this. I mean, it's fascinating. It's spooky, but it's very, very fascinating.
We should sell mugs that say pure fucking magic.
There you go.
So last question, which is kind of sort of